The mics are hot.
It's hot. All right. On a night when I'm wearing my blue undershirt because Kenny Bell, it's a tribute to him.
Hey,
right?
Look at you.
It's all planned out.
Why do you do that stuff?
Why do I do that?
God.
Because tonight we have a fellow wide receiver with us, Brandon Kinnie.
Yes, sir.
Affectionately known as BK.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for being on the No Block North podcast.
Thank you guys for having me. I'm glad we finally figured it out. I know Mike was trying to get some stuff set up, so
yeah,
I was happy that I was able to do it, man. Seriously,
Yeah.
I told my wife, I'm like, I'm out. 5:36. I'm leaving. I gotta go.
Yeah, and it's like a year in the making, right? And
Yeah.
So before we even get started, the name of this podcast is called No Block, No Rock. It's based off of a receiver. If they can't block, they don't deserve the rock.
Can't get the rock.
What do you think about that?
I think it's true, man. As upsetting as it, I think my older days, because it was funny. Me, Mike, McNeil, Niles, Paul, we used to call ourselves going on strike with Coach Gilmore when he was at Nebraska. We would say, man, we ain't blocking until we get the ball some more. Like we glorify linemen on the back end.
So
man.
you flipped it,
man. He was not hearing it. He was like, all right, if you want to play, you better block. So I'm like, man. So we really took pride in that, and that was the most I ever did. Coming from junior college, I was kind of like I'm the man. I don't have to block as much, but those guys are like, no, if you're going to come out here and be a big body, you're going to block. So we took pride in it, man. We took pride in getting pancakes, knocking dudes down, intimidating them, man.
Yeah, well, because before you got here, I was telling the guys, I was like, did you guys watch, like, his highlights before today? Because I said, like, I watched, like, 40 minutes worth of, like, his 2011 season, and all of it was him just pancaking dudes.
It's a lot, man, a lot. Taking pride in it, man, and I think that made us appreciate the game a little bit more, too, because it gives you a different perspective of, like, how much all of the tools have to be used. And a lot of those big plays that we had, that Rory had, Rex had, was, like, back-end blocking, man. Like, you have to have that. So it's like now me being a coach, coaching at Concordia, like, I'm big on them receivers. Like, dude, you got to block. You got to get in the way. At least get in the way. Do something.
Yeah, right.
Put your pinky on them.
And it's crazy, too, because, like, watching you and, like, your highlight film was, like, you're coming all the way across the field and, like, meeting dudes in the middle.
Crossfield blocking. Yeah, man.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was sometimes so funny because it would be, you know, I kind of started doing this in junior college, but when we had to do the crossfield blocking, I'm like, nah, I'm not doing that. But every play, first play, if it was a run play, I'm like, I'm going to jack this dude up in front of me really, really bad so he can understand it's about to be a long night. And I'll tell him that, chirp at him a little bit, just to mess with his head a little bit.
Were you a shit talker?
Yeah, man, all day long. I got all types of pictures. I'm like, if you see me take my mouthpiece out, you knew, like, okay, BK, shut up.
Okay,
Get back
so
to the huddle, man.
What's the worst thing you ever said to somebody on the football field?
Man, Jesus Christ, Lord forgive me. I think I said, I'm gonna try to kill you before this game over with.
Nothing about nobody's mamas. Nothing like that.
I'm going to try to take your life, man. That's what I'm doing.
Like, okay,
yeah. What's worse?
Yeah.
Oh,
yeah. I was like, I'm gonna try to kill you before this game is over with. Some of the dudes will be like, what? Like, yeah, dude, that's what I'm on.
He said that?
Yeah, I'm trying to choke you. I'm trying to do everything. This big 230-pound dude running at you, like, what's happening right now? So yeah, man. Yes, man.
Did you guys have any like competitions,
incentives
or no? There's no bounty gate,
right? Look, now we're about to start getting investigated from old school.
Sean
stuff.
Payton did not coach you.
So, well, no, was it Jordan told us? Westy said that they had like a board, and it was like a pancake board for receivers.
Okay,
and they like took pride in it. And I know that you guys had, you know, at cross pass, I think a little bit, or no?
No, he came right after. Yep.
Okay,
so when I was coming back to train, he was there. Yep.
So, but did you guys have any boards or anything like, BK got a pancake here. Hey, Niles, you gonna beat that?
Yep.
Like,
it was same pancake board, and then we got graded too. So Gilmore graded us on blocking, finishes, and stuff like that. But I knew it was different once I was getting recruited here, because when he would call me when I was in junior college to ask about my games, you know, I'm just like, oh yeah, I had this many catches, I had this, I did this. He was like, well, how many pancakes you have? I was like, what are you talking about, pancakes? I was like, what do you mean? So I knew it was going to be a little different, but I'm glad that I made that transition, because Coach Gilmore was a great coach. Like, I really learned the ins and outs of really like learning how to be a receiver, play receiver, getting your hips low, in and out of breaks, running routes and things like that. So, so it was great. It was good, man.
So speaking of that, you came to Lincoln from Fort Scott Community College in Kansas.
Yep.
So what was the biggest transition, the biggest hurdle that you had to jump to make that transition to D1? What was the hardest thing about that?
It's so funny because I tell guys all the time when when I finally got here, once you get out of the weight room, it's like a place called the Land-In where it's like a couple TVs and then you got like your snack shop. And then I was going to they have like Gatorade dispensers and water and stuff. So you go down the line, it's like red Gatorade, blue Gatorade, then it's like water, then it said cold water. And I'm like, oh, I made it, dog. Cold water? I got the option between water and cold water. I'm like, oh, yeah, I'm the man now. But no, the biggest transition, man, was just understanding like we were spoiled, man. We were super spoiled in junior college, right? You doing everything yourself. You're figuring it out. You're taking your pads in your bag and you're getting on the bus. Well, I remember one time vividly when we went to Virginia Tech. It was my first time ever flying in my life. We went to Virginia Tech. In a plane, dude. They had a story on it that week and everything. It was on YouTube and everything. But I packed my bag up and put my helmet in. And I like throw my bag on my shoulder and I'm start walking to the bus. And they looking at me like, what are you doing? I'm like, we getting ready to go. And it was like, put the bag down. They put that on the semi, dog, to drive out there. I'm like, I didn't know, man. I'm sorry, dog. I didn't know that at all. I apologize. So just understanding that, man, and just trying to keep that same attitude, though, of like coming from nothing, because that's what junior college was. It was just figuring it out. You know, you buying your own cleats and stuff like that. Now you get to go to a window and say, hey, Jay Terry, can I get some gloves? Can I get some cleats? They hand you brand new cleats. So,
hell yeah.
So it was great, man. It was great. And I would say that was probably the biggest transition, playbooks and things like that, learning that perspective of the game and really breaking that down, watching film, opposed to junior college. I would just watch myself play and look good. Right now, you got to really break the film down and understand what you're doing. So
when you landed up in community college, did you have any D1 offers coming out of high school?
Yeah.
What was your route to junior college before you got to Nebraska?
Absolutely, man. So I signed with Kansas State coming out of high school. I verbally committed to them. So Josh Freeman was my quarterback in high school.
Okay.
So we played 2 years together. So I scored like 21 touchdowns, broke our school record. And they kept on saying, well, we see Josh, but who's this big old 84 he keeps throwing it to? So it's funny because Raheem Morris was the defensive coordinator then.
Okay.
He was the defensive coordinator. Yep.
Wow.
The same guy for the Rams. So it was funny because he came in and I didn't know he was coming to our school that day. And they coming to find me and looking for me, and I'm not in not the class I'm supposed to be in. So they're like, where is he at? So they go to the gym, and I'm like in the gym throwing it off the backboard, dunking and doing all that. And so I look at Raheem and my coach there, and he's like, man, come here. And my grades were terrible. They were absolutely awful. And he was like, dude, you got a 1 point this, and what are you doing? You're not even in class. I'm just looking at him like, yeah, all right.
Yeah, I'm the man.
Figured
You
it
know
out.
who I am?
Right?
You see what I said to that?
Right? So he's like, yeah, man, we got to figure something out. You either got to have a big score on your ACT or we got to place you somewhere. So after I took the ACT about 5 times, I didn't get the score either time that I needed. So it was just like, you know what, we're going to place you at Fort Scott Community College. But then when I got there, I opened my recruitment up because it was like, okay, I don't have to go to Kansas State. There's other more options. So that's what I ended up doing, man. But I redshirted there my first year, and it just took me by storm because that was the first time I was ever told, like, hey, man, you ain't good enough right now. I'm like, what? Right. When he told me that, I'm like, man, right? I'm like, are you serious? I'm running out. I get to the back of the school, and I'm like bawling, and I call my mom. I'm like, I'm leaving. I want to go home right now. She's like, you can't go home, Brandon. Like, you got to figure it out. You got to do something. So I went and played basketball. So I tried out for the basketball team. I was just in there one day playing open gym with the guys. And they were like, dude, who is this? Now, mind you, junior college had an out-of-state rule. Now, they don't have it anymore, but they had a 12-man out-of-state rule that you had in football. And then basketball was like, you only can have like 5 out of the 12. Yeah. So, like, I came into the gym playing, and they thought they had 5 guys that was already out of state. And they was like, oh, no, hold on, man. This dude is throwing it off the wall, windmilling it. Like, who is this guy? But it was funny because my coach came in. My junior college coach, Coach Jeffrey Sims, and he said, what the hell are you doing? I'm not paying you to play basketball. So he ripped me off the court, and then the basketball coach came running down. Coach Sims, Coach Sims, Coach Sims. So he begged him to let me play, and he let me play. He said, if your grades slip one time, you're out of here. Wow. So I'm like, yeah, man. So I got to play both years. So I redshirted my first year, played basketball. Came back my second year, played football. I wasn't going to play basketball, but I watched like 2 games, and I'm like, you know what? I'll come out, man. I'll stay in shape, whatever. So I came out the second year. Then I was able to come to Nebraska with 3 years opposed to 2.
Did you have anybody offer you for basketball?
I had a couple looks like NIU, Maryland was looking, but I knew that, I wanted to play football in Nebraska. I talked to Doc a couple times too.
Okay.
But I'm like, I was just an athlete playing basketball. Football was like, this is the mission, man. I knew this was it.
That's your love?
Yeah,
okay.
Man. So
that's good.
I dove into that, man, and just figured it out from there, man. So
okay.
Yeah.
So Nebraska, how much did you know about Nebraska before committing? What's that?
That's such a good question. Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, that's a real great question. I tell people all the time. I knew Eric Crouch. Was it the Missouri game, the throwback, or was it the Oklahoma game?
Oklahoma.
Yeah. I remember watching that when I was a little boy, but I knew
Black Florida when Flash Rivers passed.
Yeah, is that what it's called?
Yeah.
Shut up. That's so tight. You know
well,
that.
you have to know that. Brandon, you
live
have
here
to
now.
know that.
Wait till I got something else for y'all. It's gonna be really good. I got another story. You gonna be like, really? You didn't know that? But yeah, that's all I knew. So I just knew that. So when I heard Nebraska, because I grew up in Fort Wayne, Indiana, so that was Big Ten. So I watched Purdue, Indiana, all those teams playing. I never playing in the big house for me was like so surreal because I watched it growing up. So to be able to be there in Nebraska and things like that. So I didn't know a lot at all, man. So when I took my first visit, right, I think we took a non-official visit. Me, who was all came? I think Jason Pierre-Paul came on our official. We came together. We went to junior college together, him and Jaquan Williams. I came up, I think, with a group of guys, and they watched we had practice tape for him. And before we left, they thought I was a tight end. They was like, his shoulders are so big. Like, he plays H-back tight end. I was like, no, he's a receiver. So before I left, they offered me there. And I was ready to commit right then and there. And my coach was like, no, wait it out. And that was a summer. So I took my visit that fall, me, Jaquan Williams, Jason Pierre-Paul, and we came to the San Jose State game.
Okay.
Yeah. So when I seen that, I'm like, dude, this is crazy.
90,000 people.
For a
San
football
Jose
game?
State,
Like, seriously?
Right.
And my mom had came to this. Did we go to? We went to the spring game the following year.
Oh no!
And
practice?
then that was like,
Right.
she was like, this many people for practice? I was
Yeah.
like,
We're a little
wow,
nuts.
This is crazy. So it was so surreal for me. It was great. My favorite color was red. Right. It wasn't too far from home. I knew I didn't want to go to Kansas. I didn't want to go to Missouri. It was too close to home.
We don't blame you.
Yeah. Right. Thank God. And then too, being there. This is when what's the big guy name? Is it Mangino?
Yeah.
So we took a visit there, me, Jaquan, Jason, same guys. And he had like a chauffeur driving him around his little golf cart thing, right? So he came in and
I can't walk.
Right?
I'm sure the golf cart was leaning on
He
one
was a
side.
small dude too that was driving it, and he came up to us. And he was like, "Hey, my name is Mark. I think it's Mark. Yeah, Mark Mangino." He shook his hand. So he drove around the practice, and he saw us again. He said, "Hey, my name is Mark Mangino." I said, "Yeah, we're not coming here. We're not gonna come here."
He seriously did that twice?
Yeah, twice, man. I was like, "Yeah, I'm good."
Did you look at him and say, "Do you know who I am?"
Yeah, I was like, "You got 3 like guys here, like Jason Pierre-Paul."
Pierre-Paul.
Like, are you serious? Like,
Do you know who that guy is?
all right, cool. So I know this isn't the spot. So Nebraska, it was perfect, man. They were so genuine. They were. I loved the way that we communicated and talked. It wasn't always about football.
Who recruited you?
It was Gilmore.
Okay.
Gilmore, Bo and Carl Pelini coached with Carl coached with Jeff Sims back in, I believe, Mankato and Minnesota.
Okay.
They coached out there, so that was the connect. But they just made me feel comfortable. Like, they flew in one time. Bo and Carl flew in, and we had dinner at my coach's house, and they were making spaghetti. Now, mind you, like, I'm single parent mom growing up. We from the hood. We just eat wherever we eat.
Yeah.
We eat on the floor, wherever that you can figure out. So we eating at a table. We getting ready to eat, and I'm like, dude, I don't know the proper things to do. I just know you shouldn't have your elbows maybe on your table. And then I'm like, I'm taking that, right? But no, I'm putting the napkins in my shirt. I'm like, I'm putting them in here, and I'm just like, all right, cool. And the spaghetti get out here, and Carl and Bo like, and I'm like, oh, these dudes are down. Okay, I'm cool with this. So
Those crazy Italian guys,
right? That made me comfortable, man. So like, I just enjoyed that process, and other things I looked at, and I seen flaws, and everything. Like Arkansas, it was who was it Paterno during that time?
Petrino.
Petrino.
Yeah.
It was him, and every time he would call, it was just football, and I'm like, man, I want a little, like, can you ask me something else, like type of thing. So it was different things that kind of led me, but after I made the decision, I'm like, this is great. Like, this is super cool, man.
Right. They didn't just treat you like you were expendable.
Nah.
Like a robot.
No.
Football robot.
No, I felt good. And they kept on saying, you're going to be like Maurice Purify. I was like, who is this dude?
You feel like Maurice
I was like,
Purify.
who are y'all talking
You don't know
about?
who Maurice Purify
I didn't know it coming in.
Is that
I'm
the
like,
other story that we
No,
don't know about?
it's even better.
There's another one?
Yeah. It's kind of, I mean, it's not bad, but it's kind of like, oh, really?
Okay.
But yeah, I didn't know who he was. I was like, dude, who is this dude? And they kept on comparing me, and I finally watched highlights. I'm like, dude, he's a dude.
He was good.
He's a dude.
He was
Another
the
big
first
body
of his
guy.
kind.
Yeah.
Because Nebraska being an option school.
Yeah.
Like Maurice Purify was the first of his kind at Nebraska.
Yeah.
A big body receiver, go up and get it
Go
kind of
get
guy.
it.
And that's what, like, when I watched you play, that's what I was like, oh, we got another. Like,
Yeah.
we are set. Like, just throw it up to BK. Let him go get it. So,
That's awesome,
that's
man.
I'm glad you brought up that name. Cause,
Yeah.
gosh.
He's a good dude too, man. And he did his thing, and for the Rattlers, he still lives down in Arizona too. But like, they love him out there, man.
Good.
He played so long. I think his last game, he had like 6 touchdowns in the championship game
Damn.
years ago. So yeah, he's a beast, bro.
Yeah.
He's super beastie. So yeah, man.
Well, let's stick to the personal side
Yeah,
of it. Because,
yeah.
we don't want to just talk about football.
No, for
football.
sure.
We're
Absolutely.
going to, Pelini recruit you, right?
Yeah.
We got spaghetti out here.
I wish. I would. My mom's 100% Italian, so I could have brought
been
some.
good for her.
I could have brought you some good stuff, right?
I just want to ask you, because I don't think we've had a player on that's had this experience.
Yeah.
You were raising your son Julian while you were at Nebraska.
Yep.
Just tell the listeners and us what that was like, raising a son
Yeah.
while you were playing football for a D1 program.
Absolutely, man. It was because I had Julian in 08, I believe, in junior college. So it was a year there. And then once I left, it was tough just going back and forth, being back and forth from home. Obviously, every game, home game that we're at, most of the away games that my mom and stepdad could make it to, they would bring him. But yeah, it was super tough, man, because it was just trying to. I mean, you shouldn't have been having kids that young anyway, right?
Ideally.
But ideally, right?
Shit happens. Shit happens.
No,
Miracles happen.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely, man.
Yeah.
So, and I'm so, I'm so blessed for him and everything else. But it's one of those things. It's like I was just a young kid raising a kid. So I needed the help, and it took a village, right? I had help, man. There was no way I was able to do that by myself. His mom, my mom, his grandmother, So it was so many different moving pieces that helped it. But the biggest thing, my mom and my stepdad was like, look, man, if you stay in school, because they were worried I was gonna be like, oh, I gotta leave school, I gotta come home, I gotta figure it out, and they were just like, look, stay in school, we'll figure it out.
Big picture.
Yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll help you out. We'll do whatever we need to do, right? And Julian became a star his dang self, man. So like every time, I had what was it? Fan day. Like he would be right there sitting with me. He'd be signing autographs. Some people was cool with it. Some people come by like, no, I don't want him to sign. I'm like, fair enough. I get it. Like I get it. It's all good.
Assholes.
Right? All right. I'm like, all good.
I don't know.
So, but yeah, it was cool, man. After game interviews, he would just be sitting in his chair.
Yeah.
And I'll pull a chair up, and they'll be interviewing me. He'd
That's
just be
awesome.
sitting there with his football, man. So many pictures, so many memories, and he remembers it all too, man. It's crazy. He remembers it all. So it was a good time, but man, God had a plan the whole time, and I just had to figure it out through it. And like I said, I'd be lying if it wasn't tough nights of just being like, geez, man, like there's so much going on here.
Yeah.
Did it help you grow up a lot? Like,
You had to.
Yeah.
Yeah, you absolutely had to, man, being a father that young and just trying to persevere through it all and figure it out on top of still being young and ignorant too. You know what I'm saying?
Sure. So was that ever like a topic of discussion? And I don't want to say like as a concern or anything like that for like Bo and the guys recruiting you, right? Like, was that anything like they ever brought up or like? No, they were
not
like,
at all.
Whatever.
Yeah, Gilmore and his wife came to the crib to visit me, man, and was holding him and playing with him and everything. So I think it wasn't foreign because you had Chris Brooks, you had you had so many different guys that had kids already. So it was just kind of like hey man, figuring it out. We playing football. You know what I mean? We could do whatever we can to help. But this is just the process now. You know what I'm saying? Unfortunately, because again, you shouldn't be having kids that young anyway. But they understood the process, and we got after it, man. Yeah, we got after it for sure.
Well, I mean, shout out to them.
Yeah.
Look, family atmosphere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
and they made it that.
That's great.
Yeah, they made it that, man. They made it that. So it was fun.
Awesome. Well, let's transition back into your playing days.
Yeah.
You transitioned from Zach Lee to Taylor Martinez. Yeah. And then you also, similar to kind of recent day, you transferred from Sean Watson to Tim Beck.
Yeah.
So, I mean, like, can you talk about, I mean, we're going from a guy right now, Adrian Martinez has been our quarterback for the last 4 years.
Yeah, man.
50?
Yeah.
Sorry, 4.
4
Felt
years.
like that, didn't it, man?
I mean, it's fitting that we've had 2 Lees, we've had 2 Martinezes, right?
Yeah.
But, yeah, I mean, can you talk about the transition it was going from Zach Lee, more of a, I mean, Zach Lee was a baller.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, but then
100%.
but more of a, we'll say more of a pocket passer.
Yeah.
To going with T Magic, who was just
Wheels.
electric.
Yeah.
All over the place.
Can you talk about that transition, and then maybe talk a little bit about the coaching transition you went through as well?
Yeah.
With your offensive coordinators shifting as well.
Yeah. So it was Zach. Like I said, Zach was great, man. Zach was so good, and it was one of those things to where we didn't expect that year that Taylor started, because we didn't know until like the first game. Was it Western Kentucky that we played that year? I think it was Western Kentucky's our first game. And nobody knew. But Coach Gilmore would just always tell us, like, hey, man, that number 3 going to shake up some stuff. And we would just be like, there's no way y'all going to start him over Zach, though. Me and Niles would be like, y'all not doing that. Like, it is what it is. Like, Taylor got to buy his time. He got to figure it out. And when he came on the board, we were like, oh, man, they are doing it for real. So, obviously, Zach being more of a pocket passer and Taylor being a guy that had to learn that process. It's so funny because when I got to – after Nebraska and I got to Kansas City, the reporters would ask me, like, well, who throws the greatest ball out of Ricky Stans? It was Matt Castle and Brady Quinn.
Is there any, like, NFL players you didn't play with?
Man, it's just like, I'm just like, this is kind of cool, man. They asked me about, but then when they asked that question, well, who throws the best? I'm like, man, look, Taylor Martinez, I love him to death. I'm like, but I came from Taylor Martinez, man. All of these dudes throw good balls, man. Because it's NFL, right? So they putting the ball they putting it all over the place. You know what I'm saying? Where you need it to be. So that was that transition of it, though, was exciting for us too, because obviously Taylor could make those plays, get us out of some jams and things like that. And not all those balls were terrible, but we knew Taylor's strength and we just played to that, right? So it helped in that manner. Sean Watson was more of like a West Coast offense, so we really had to like dive into that and understand that and get that lingo of it, to where Beck was like, because that was the offense that we ran when Kansas was I think that was like number 3 or 4 that year when they played USF in the Orange Bowl, I think. Remember that game?
Todd Reesing was their quarterback.
Yeah.
Good old Mangino.
Yeah, absolutely. So I think he was like the passing game coordinator or something like that for that team. Yeah. So that offense was more like fast paced and no huddle, obviously, and doing that and just kind of flying out there. Were more, like I said, the West Coast is more like methodical and understand, okay, we got to hit it here. You got to know this. A lot of tags on the backside and things like that for the X receiver. So you learned a lot, though. You got to get both perspectives of it and what it looked like. And you really learned football, though. And that's what I was appreciative for, period, just to learn the game of football and looking at it in a different perspective, too. So
for sure. I've always wondered, you being a wide receiver and somebody that embodies no block, no rock.
Yeah.
When you have like a dual threat quarterback like that, you call one play, and if his immediate instinct is, I just have to run, now you have to change everything. You turn around looking for the ball, and next thing you know, he's running up the field, right?
Yeah.
Especially Taylor. That dude flew.
Lightning, dog.
Yeah.
Lightning.
So I've always wondered, like, how difficult is that? Like, how fast does that happen where it's like, you break on a route or whatever, and you look back, and now all of a sudden you're trying to block somebody that you wouldn't be in position for to block in the first place.
Yeah. And some of those times, man, you can't. It's just like you either get in the way, you can't really do a lot. He's already passed you. A lot of the stuff was a lot of timing stuff too, to where we just knew, like, okay, this is what Taylor's comfortable at. Right. We're going to throw this in to kind of get him going so we can understand what we need to do now. But a lot of those times, if you can catch a block, awesome. Like, if not, it's like, man,
just
get
out of the way.
Yeah,
don't
it's
get a penalty.
Taylor, bro. Like, what do you want us to do? He's already 20 yards down the field, man. So, but yeah, but it was. I mean, just as electrifying as it was to see it from the TV, it was even cooler being on the field. Like,
I bet,
dude, like especially when they did the sports science thing on them. I'm like,
Right.
oh, this is tight. I'm like, this man made it, dog. He made it.
Are you faster than Taylor?
You know what? That's a good question, man. Taylor's quick.
Yeah.
Taylor's quick. I don't, he does. It's not like 40 fast, but he's just super
Fast
quick.
twitch, right?
Yeah, it's quick twitch.
Acceleration.
Yeah, is that
Like,
what he has? That's
like
the
that
difference.
next gear. That
Yeah.
Gosh.
And when I came out, I ran 4.4 and 4.3, 4.39 handheld, 4.41 electronic. Well, you didn't see like that was burst. That wasn't like long speed. You know what I'm saying? It was a few times I got hawked, man. Minnesota on the screenplay and everything, but it was just being strong and being that big burst of speed in that moment. So we had all types of stuff. Niles was like, he was a guy that was like 100-meter fast. So he took a while to get up, but when he got going, it was like, okay, yeah, you ain't catching that dude type of thing. So, man.
The only tight end in the NFL I've ever seen return kicks.
Like literally, like they're running around.
Name
like,
another tight end in NFL history to be the kick
what is
returner.
he doing, man? Like literally. Yeah, we both my junior year, his senior year, we both broke the 10 records at like 140 and like 143. So like you were getting after it, man. Because Bo, when we got to start being like around that 230, 235, they were like, okay, what are we doing here? Is this too much? And they even sat us down like, hey man, is this all right? Is this enough? Is this too much weight? Can y'all play with this? But then when we were in the 10s, they were like, okay, these guys are good. They're fine. We're good. They can play with that weight.
All right, so let's continue with this sometimes volatile topic of Taylor Martinez.
Yeah.
He is a guy that we were discussing off air. Is a pretty underappreciated guy. I feel like we've had a lot of those kind of guys on the pod, right?
Jamal Lord.
You know,
he's
another dude that's just kind of like he took his lumps, right?
I heard his response too. It was a good response.
Yeah.
He said he was appreciated by his teammates, and
that's all that mattered.
For him. Yeah,
exactly.
that was awesome. That was awesome.
And I'm just as guilty as anyone. Okay, like in the moment, it's like Taylor would have his issues, but then there he goes, 80 yards for 6 in a blink of an eye.
Yeah.
And just real quick, I want to just point out in 2012, he made first team All Big Ten.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now hold on, I got to get my phone out.
Yeah, man.
There's a lot of stuff here.
Stats right, man.
He led the conference in passer rating over Braxton Miller, who was a guy that was NFL, but led the conference in total yards per play, and the most touchdowns responsible for. That's looking back, it's like I think I took it for granted. I'm sorry, Taylor.
Man.
Taylor, Texas, right? That's where he lived.
Yeah, Houston.
Yeah,
all the way from Omaha to Houston, man. I'm sorry.
Make a clip and BK will deliver it personally.
Right? Yeah.
My fault.
My bad, man.
Just get into the kind of dude he was. On the field, off the field.
Yeah.
What was it like playing with him and for him as your quarterback? The pressures that he went through as a Nebraska quarterback. Just get into that a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely, man. And as we were talking about off air, man, it's one of those things to where when he first got in, I will say personally for sure, I'm like, I don't like this dude, man. Like we was already tight net in our circle, our 09 circle. And now, mind you, I came in older than all these cats coming from junior college, but we stayed in the same dorm. We would kick it with each other. And then Taylor came in late. So it was just one of those things, like he came in the 300 Chrysler. We was just like, who is this dude think he is? He wouldn't talk to any of us. He was kind of doing his own thing. And we were like, really, dog? So as we got to know him and understand like his background and where he came from, and like it all made sense. And when you put it into perspective of like what you go through as a player and social media, and at that time social media was just kind of blaring up, and we were huge on Twitter. So like, I mean, I remember days, especially my senior year. My senior year, I didn't go out the way that I wanted to whatsoever, with so many drops and just dealing with different things. But it was a thing like every game, like you go back to your phone. And I wish now I would have just deleted the stuff, but you go back and you like read that stuff and you like letting it fill your mind, you replying back, upset and things like that. So when you put all that into perspective of like what he was actually dealing with, playing quarterback, and that is like, dang, that was a lot. Because, like I said, like you dealt with a lot as a receiver or whatever other position that you dealt with. But this is the quarterback, though. This is the big time, big game player. And these guys are on him because he's giving one-word answers in the media. And it's like, well, what does he say? You know what I mean? What is he supposed to say?
Damned if he do, damned if he doesn't. You know?
And I've always seen that, right, with Nebraska football. And it comes with the territory. And I completely understand that. But I just think it's one of those things to where each year, like, the Kool-Aid is always being drank.
Oh, yeah.
And you got to – I mean, when I look at things and I look at defenses and we talk about what's to come, I just think you just got to compare it to what you've seen. So when we talk about, oh, what do you think this year, BK? I was like, well, like, do you see a Levante David out there? Okay, okay. Do you see a Randy Gregory out there? Like, yeah. So when we talk about things, we want to get excited about our guys, and as we should, but it's like, let's call a spade a spade. So now we won't put so much pressure on these boys, and then we're okay too as well. But it just doesn't happen like that. And I get it. Like, I completely get it because I'm mad some days too. But being a player, it's like, dude, I'm not about to go completely laugh and cuss these little dudes out or jump on Twitter. Or it's love regardless because I've been through it. I've been through the same thing these dudes are going
because
through,
when they see you in the street, they're going to say, oh, BK,
can I get a picture? Can I get it? Yeah. But on a Twitter feed, they'll blow you up, man. Make you feel real low, dog. Real low.
Oh,
man. It was tough times. So I knew, like I said, you knew Taylor dealt with a lot within himself, man. And I think for what he had, like he dealt with it the best that he could. And like, dude, he's such a good friend, bro. Like, he's always a good dude, always checking up, always checking in on each other. Like, he's a really, really good dude. And as you grow in this thing, I was just telling Prince today, the guys that we got to know later, like the Tyler Legates, the Jim Epkes, the Matt Mays, the Lance Durrells, the Kevin Thompsons, like, I got to know those dudes later in my last year because we graduated together. Mm-hmm. And I was telling Prince this morning, I wish I would have took more time to, like, be around all of those guys. Now, granted, we were all cool, but you have your groups that you hang out with. Yeah. But, like, as I started to hang out with those guys even more, I'm like, y'all are so funny and silly. And they were so good. And they're still good friends now. Like, we're all in the group text messaging and things like that. But it's like, it's so many different things that you look at that you take for granted while you're there. And then it goes by so fast, man. So, like I said, man, once we graduated, it was one of those things where I would wake up like 6 o'clock in the morning thinking I'm getting ready to, like, go to practice. And I'm like, I got to go to work, dog. What am I doing right now? So, yeah, man.
Okay. Well, you brought up my favorite word, and this is kind of like what our podcast is all about. Yeah. If we had to describe our podcast, and this is how we have it on Twitter, or Instagram, or Twitter, it's like, we are the podcast that Nebraska fans can go to, that they can go to for the sobering chaser to their Kool-Aid.
Ooh.
Because we give you
their Kool-Aid shot, right?
Yeah. All the media pushes all the Kool-Aid stuff. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. And we're just take a step back.
Yeah.
Take a breather.
Yeah.
And so when you said that, I was like,
and y'all dealing with players, so that's cool. The players, I mean, y'all getting that perspective, obviously, from the players. So these former guys that have been there, lived in it, right? Like, you understand it, right? And we won. I mean, we actually won a Big 12 North Championship. We won some bowl games. Like, we won. Like, I'm so thankful to be a part of that. But it's like, some folks may look at it like, it was 9 or 10. It wasn't natty. And it's like, I would have loved to win a natty, dog. Like, are you serious? But this what it was. And I got to take what I had and say, like, hey, man, this was a good run y'all had, man. When I knew we were, like, for real is when ESPN came up with some stats one time, and it was like, our defense was ranked above Florida. And I'm like, oh, bro, we really tight, dog. Like, we really did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a process, but I think I love that. I love that, man. Like, you gotta just cool it, man. And when you know, you'll know. Like, you'll know when that team comes around, if it does. But you got to compare it to the Alabamas, the Clemsons. Like, are we as good as those teams? Let's just be honest.
Yeah.
Yes.
And if we're not, we're not. And we just got to keep figuring it out.
And that's A-okay.
Yeah, that's all right.
It
sucks to say that, right? Yes. But you got to buy your time, man. Like, as long as you're going out there and compete, man.
Yeah.
That's it. Just compete.
It. But, yeah, we got to win more.
Yeah.
So let's stick to current Husker stuff, all right? We got all these staff changes. We got a new quarterback. Do you see any, like, glaring things, potential struggles, areas that we need to fix before the first game in Dublin, Ireland? Like, what needs to be fixed so that we don't go from a 3-9 team, which is sickening to say.
Yeah.
You know, a 3-9 team, how do we take that step and be a winning team again?
Yeah. Man, I want Scott to be the guy so bad. I genuinely do, man.
We all do.
Yeah,
all do.
Believe it or not, we all do.
Yeah, I want him to be the guy so bad. And it's like, I feel like they have the pieces. I feel like they have the guys there. Like, I was a huge Adrian Martinez fan. I was hoping that he figured it out, man. And I just think mentally after so long, it kind of wore on him too. But I feel like they have all the pieces. And funny story too, and this isn't a story either, but when Scott, because I didn't know who Scott Frost was. So when I was in junior college, right? When I was in junior college, he came to, when he was in Oregon, he was a receivers coach, and he came to recruit me. And he was recruiting another guy from Butler. And when I found that out, I'm like, they was like, yeah, the Oregon guy is coming to recruit you. I'm like, dude, he recruiting something Gaines. I can't remember his first name. I was like, he recruiting that dude. I don't care about that. So he came in and we was talking. He said, yeah, I heard you got Nebraska, recruiting. I'm like, yeah. He was like, yeah, I used to play there. I was like, okay. And then like years later, I'm like, oh, he was the dude.
You were that guy.
He was the guy,
national
man,
championship
right?
quarterback.
So like, but man, I believe that they have all the pieces. I'm a huge Omar Manning fan. I'm really waiting to see him come out, like really, really have a showing. And obviously being a junior college kid, right? Transfer, big body guy, like you want to root for guys like that.
Parallels between you and him.
Yeah, and even hearing like, like playbook struggles and things like that. Yeah, same thing. Like you go to this, this dumbed down offense, and it's like West Coast, you got this, X tag this. And I'm like, what is this? So like, I'm a huge fan of Omar for sure. I want to see him really, really have a big year. Betts too as well. Obviously being a receiver guy. Yeah. But I genuinely feel like they had the pieces, man. I really do. Yeah. I really, really do. And I hope we can figure it out.
And we've said like, once they said they were releasing like the whole offensive staff, we were like, okay, what does Scott Frost need to succeed? Yeah, in a new league like the Big Ten, where you're coaching against fantastic coaches every single week, and it's like, okay, you need an offensive coordinator that's going to take over the offense, set you aside. That's
call out the bullshit.
Yeah.
Weed out the bullshit.
Yeah.
Keep it simple. And who's seen every situation in a football game, and that's Mark Whipple.
Yeah.
And then we said the offensive line has struggled so bad, so they bring in a guy that hasn't really been. He doesn't have that much experience, but good reports coming from there. It's just like,
yeah. Is that the Kool-Aid?
That's the Kool-Aid. That's the Kool-Aid.
The Kool-Aid is the good reports.
Yeah. When I say good reports, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Because Bo did the same thing, right? Remember, he got rid of Watson, he got rid of Gilmore, and it was like, okay, you got to make some moves, got to make some splashes. Like politically now, I get it now, looking out, being graduated, understanding that now. But it's like, you hope it pans out. Because I'm a Bo guy, straight up and down. Like, Bo is my dude. Like, black and white coach, give it to you how you need. Like, I loved Bo, still do to this day. Now, I can get that some of the things that he probably didn't do A1, right? That was right. Because if you're here in Nebraska, you got to have the people. Right? You got to have the people. So you got to do the little things. Well, Bo was like, treated it like, well, it's us versus y'all.
Yeah.
And you can't do that, right? But in the time, but I'm trying to compare, okay, well, I can understand how he feels that way, because it's like Ohio State 2011, and it's like we getting booed at halftime.
Yeah.
People are leaving.
That was a big,
you feel me?
That was probably the start of the kind of Bo versus the fans.
Come on, man.
Kind of thing,
we come back.
Yeah.
We win. Now we Gatorade team of the week. All this stuff. And he's like, the fans praise him. They're this. And he's like, well, y'all was booing us at halftime. These kids go to study hall. We do this. So I started to feel that like, bro, that's crazy. I still hear stories to this day. People was like, yeah, we left that game and was in the bars pissed. Like, what? We wasn't there for that. It's like, so I understood it, but like being in that realm, I get it. You got to play the game, but Bo is just like, nah, man, I'm going to stay true to myself. And I respect him for that. I genuinely do, man. And it ended how it ended, but I feel like he did well while he was here, man. Like, it was a couple of games. We didn't win the big ones. We should have won them, but I got the experience. We got the experience as brothers in that. I got to play in 2 Big 12 championships, bro. Like, That's awesome. I wish I would have won one, but like,
I don't know a lot of people who can say that, right?
Yeah, the Texas Stadium is new. Like, my neck is hurting because I'm looking up the whole game. I'm like, this is awesome, man. So I was appreciative of my time with Bo, those guys, my brothers that I still consider that. So
Do you have any fun Bo Pelini stories?
Oh my goodness.
Find a fun one that
Besides spaghetti.
besides spaghetti. I mean, spaghetti. That was a good story. But
Of course it was.
do you have any? Did Bo ever rip you?
Oh my! Are you serious?
Come on. Do you have any good like Bo got in your ass stories?
When he said, "Dad gummit, Brandon."
Right? Yeah, sure he said that.
How dare you?
Man, we were playing Texas A&M, and I dropped the first 2 balls I got from Cody. It was like a X and Y basic, and it was coming across the middle. Caught like I was trying to get on the backside and dropped it. Dropped another one, and like I come off to the sideline, and he's like, Are you gonna effing show up today?
Mm-hmm.
No, yeah. He said, are you gonna effing show up today? And I'm thinking it's like rhetorical question, like, get your mind right, BK. He was like, I'm effing talking to you. And I'm like, yes, sir. I'm gonna get my stuff together. I am, I promise. I'm gonna get it together. Right? I'm gonna get it. So yeah, man, he stayed ripping me, man. I remember Iowa State, I dropped the first down pass on screen. Like, I walk off the sideline. He is just giving it to me, man. I'm like, bro, I know. I'm sorry, Bo.
Why are you dropping balls?
Right? This is your job, bro. This is your job. But yeah, man, I thought it was a rhetorical question. I'm like, I don't got to answer this. He's just trying to pump me up. He's like, no, I want to answer. I need an answer from you. I need a yes or a no.
Well, I was going to say, like, you go to the sideline, you just know it's coming.
Yeah,
so you kind of like turn your shoulder a little bit,
man,
so he's not
look,
up there.
You got to wait. And Gilmore used to get in this too, man.
Yeah.
Like, and it was more a little reserved than what Bo was, but I respected that about Bo because it was black and white. It was no gray. There was no gray. You can't if you give me gray, I'm taking the gray all day in that time in my life, right? I'm taking that all day. But
Right.
I needed black and white,
Yeah.
dog. I needed black and white.
Yeah.
So.
You go walking off the sidelines and you're doing everything but give eye contact.
Yeah, right. Knowing that Bo. I felt sorry for the defensive guys because Carl was off the
got
chain,
in.
man.
He got busy.
Busy. Yeah, busy. Practice and games, dog. When he left, Bo calmed down so much. We was all in the locker room, like, thank God Carl left, man, because Bo is like chilling now, man. Yes, man. Those guys are firecrackers. But the guys that was in that locker room needed that, though. We needed that.
Well,
we
look,
absolutely needed that, though.
Yeah, we had PJ Smith on almost a year ago.
Yeah.
And he said the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, Bo came from a place of love. Like, you knew he cared
All
about
day
you.
long.
Even though he ripped you,
Yeah.
it came from a caring place.
Yeah.
So,
And that's my coaching style now, man. I was like I've earned the right to coach you because I show up, man.
Right.
Because I give you the same, like, every time that I'm here, I give you that. So, like, no, I've earned that right now. Now I'm going to coach you. You know what I mean? And, like, it's changing that culture at Concordia, too. Even the youth boys that I coach, it's like, no, y'all got to be held accountable. Like, and I understand it's a thin line of tearing the kid down and things like that. And we walk it well, but, like, you got to understand what's right from wrong, man. And you got to get loved on in that because when you're doing right, it's a lot of love. But when you're doing right, I tell the boys all the time, like, what do you want me to do? When you do bad, what do you want to tell you?
You want a high five?
Yeah.
Come on.
So if
Seriously.
you want to be coached, I'm going to coach you. But I'm expecting it out of you because now you know. And we knew that we had to perform. My junior college coach was like that. Bo was like that. Like, you want to perform because, hey, you want to win. You're a competitor, but you don't want to disappoint your coaches either. You know what I'm saying? And you knew you was going to get cussed out, right? If you didn't do what you needed to do. So, like, you got to get it together.
yeah.
So, yeah. But we not doing no cussing out now. Yeah, I ain't doing that to my boys or at Concordia,
Of course
obviously.
not.
But
That's fine.
college is a little different now. Like, you grown man in there figuring it out now. So,
Right.
yeah, man.
So, in one of your previous answers, you're talking about kind of the fleeting, experiences of playing college football.
Yeah.
It's very blink and you miss it. So, what was your favorite part about playing at Nebraska? It could be like a particular game. It could be just something that you went through like weekly that you just miss. Like, what do you miss about playing for Nebraska?
The
What was your
locker
favorite
room.
play? Okay.
Locker room. It would be so funny because we would be complaining and moaning out in the practice field like, I'm so tired of this. I'm tired. Then get in the locker room, music get to going, and everybody like in there for an extra 2 hours, whipping towels, getting the cold tub. And you like, bro, we was just tired. Like, but it's like, I'm with my boys. We kicking it. Like, we vibing out, man. So I always tell people all the time, they think it's the funniest thing. When I'm like, the locker room, man. Like, we hung out. We acted stupid, man. We told jokes. We told stories. It's just a good time, and you miss that camaraderie. You know, you really miss it. And I was searching for something so bad after college for something like that because you want it. You miss it. Like, you know what I mean? So, yeah, the locker room for me, man. Outside of scoring touchdowns, right? Like, that's super cool.
Right.
But, I mean, the locker room was the dopest part with your brothers, man. So.
Do you remember your first touchdown at Nebraska?
Yeah, it was Oklahoma State.
Okay.
Yeah, and I had 3 of them that game.
Yes, you
yeah, tied. I think it's still tied record. I think with Mo because he had 3 against Kansas the
I
year.
think that's right.
Yeah.
I think that's right.
Against Talib too. Ooh,
Yeah,
geez.
keep to leave. Yeah.
Like, he was a beast. But
Oh yeah.
yeah, that was my first one, and then but the funny part is that I could have had won the Big 12 championship, the Texas game. But I was out of bounds by
Yeah.
right, and
I remember you were like falling,
man.
back, and you almost got a foot. You're like this far off.
Oh my god! And I caught it. I'm just like, and then Bo still ripped me on this, like, get your damn foot down. I'm like, yes sir, yes sir.
What size shoe do you
13,
wear?
man.
See, if you would have wore 12.
Golly,
I wear
just
13
like,
too, you know?
get your foot down, man. That would have changed the game. But I had a huge coming out that game. Like, I really had made some big plays at the end, kind of get us in position. So that next year, they didn't know who was going to play the X. They were going to try to move Niles over and figure some stuff out, but they were like, no, BK, he got it. Like, he can do it. So that was huge for me. That was huge for confidence and everything coming into the next year to kind of propel me into that year. So, yeah man.
Okay, so now that we have your favorite, like your first touchdown, right?
Yeah.
Let's talk about your favorite block. Do you have like a favorite pancake?
Wow, man.
When you kill the guy.
Okay, so I'll give you a reminder. All
Okay.
right. So Minnesota. It was like you went out for like a button route. Right? Like you went out 10 yards, you turned around, and then it looked like Taylor was getting ready to start taking off. And you like darted. I'm talking you ran all the way across the field, and this poor kid like turned around. And there you were running full speed, and I'm talking this kid got like depleted.
Targeting.
Michigan right now, right?
Yeah,
man,
you would have been ejected from a couple games.
Legit, man. I mean, but Michigan State was one. I mean, we had a lot of, because Coach Gilmore taught the push crack, right? Like to push at the cornerback, see safety coming down, right? Come off and do that. So we really took really took heed of that. We really wanted to like knock dudes out, man. So it was a lot of them. But I remember some easy ones that weren't pancakes, but that freed Roy up for big runs. The Washington run, he had a huge run. The Idaho game, he had a huge run on the push crack. Like, those are like awesome plays. Yeah. It's like, receivers divas. We want to always be in the camera. Yeah. So to know that you're still getting love for a good play. Yeah, it's like, we did that.
I did that.
Yeah,
you're welcome. You see those yards you got?
Right? Yeah, it's because of me. Thank you, sir. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah, man.
So, at Nebraska, I mean, so now we're going to shift to what you're doing after. Let's shift into Alliance a little bit, faith jump. So while you're at Nebraska, did you have any inkling that you would be doing what you're doing now? And maybe let's talk about the journey. Yeah. That we talked about off air. Yeah. Talk about the journey of how you got to where you're at right now. Yeah.
No, man. The plan coming out of college was make a lot of money. Like, go to the NFL, take care of your family, figure it out.
Very general.
Yeah, right? Yeah. Because that's all you really know. You do grow up from the hood, single mother. Like, it's how you know. Like, I'm going to take care of my people. So figuring that aspect out and trying to tread water, and that was already big within itself. But, like, getting out of it was, like I said, you never thought anything else. So I didn't think about anything else. I just got my degree. I was happy about that. And then that was just it. So when I really had to figure it out, it was like, no, I never thought. I mean, everybody would tell me all the time, like, BK, you'd be a great coach. I'm like, bro, I'm not ever coaching. Like, there's no money in that. I'm not trying to be no GA. I'm not about to work all these hours. Like, I don't want to do it. So after I got out of school and football didn't really pan out, I was just trying to figure things out. And I tell my people all the time, like, my grandmother was the first entrepreneur in our family. I didn't even know, because she used to clean chitlins for the whole hood. Each bucket was $10, and she would literally be up all night cleaning chitlins. Y'all know what chitlins are? Pig intestines. Yeah, chitlins. We have them in over Christmas. I posted on Facebook usually I only have them now. I usually have them one time a year, and it's usually Thanksgiving. So I clean them myself and things like that. But my grandma would clean chitlins for the whole hood, $10 a bucket, and she would be up all night cleaning them, and the whole house would stink and everything. But everybody ate good. So she was the first like entrepreneur, but we didn't, I didn't understand it until I really started getting into the game. So after, like I said, after I figured that out and college didn't go, I kind of bounced around to odd end jobs and trying to just figure out my knack. And I learned, like, okay, I love being around people. I love talking to people. Retail was awesome. So I'm like, all right, cool. This is great. But then you get into retail, you're like, man, these hours, I'm working the weekends. It's like, what's going on? So
Holidays.
holidays,
Yeah.
but I got the energy to do it. I'm on 10 every time I'm coming in there, but it just kind of wore on you after so long. So when God gave me the vision for Faith Jump and Alliance, it was so clear because like I had been doing my life for so long myself and making my own choices and my own decisions. And when I finally said like, God, you got it. Like I surrender, you got it. When he gave me the vision, I'm like, this is what it was the whole time? Because I just never thought it was it. Both of my brothers coach too. One of my brothers coach in Arizona, big school in Arizona. My baby brother coaches in Kansas. Just went 35-0. Girls basketball, 35-0. First time any team won the state championship.
That's awesome.
6A ball too, big time ball. So like they would tell me all the time, BK, man, you would love coaching. I'm like, bro, I am not coaching. So when I got into coaching, it was just really to be like, well, if my son wants to play, I want to teach him the right way to play. So I'll coach or whatever.
Yeah,
but as I got into it, I'm like, this is pretty cool. Like this is really nice. So once God gave me the vision, man, and we ran with it, it was just like, this is what the calling was. This is what purpose was, like to bring all of this together to build disciples to discipleship through sports, through football, right? And Alliance Sports Training, our 3 pillars are faith, character development, and sports. And it's like not, we don't want to, I guess I don't want to be considered like a Bible thumper because we're never doing that because I love the Lord, but I'm still a rugged dude. Like I still, you know what I mean? I'm still figuring it out every day, right? Yeah. Like, so you still got to deal with that, but it's like to let them know, like, it's okay. Like, it's just a process. It's a sanctification process and giving them that door to say like, dude, it ain't about being perfect. It ain't about anything. It's just like getting up each time and just trying again and going harder and learning from that stuff. So it's been huge, man. It's been a big impact. The mission is to bring the youth in Omaha together, from West Omaha, South Omaha, North Omaha together. And I tell people all the time, God really convicted me, man, because when I got up to Concordia, before I got there, I thought in my mind, like, oh man, this school is out on 156 and Fort. Like, this school is great. These kids are good. There wouldn't be no problems.
Right.
Then you get into the school and you like, oh my goodness, like these kids are struggling too with everyday things. It just looks a little better in West Omaha, right? North Omaha, South Omaha is gonna look worse, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like I was so convicted because I thought I was being some gift to North Omaha to say, and it's like, no, they all need Jesus. They all need a savior and an understanding of what this life looks like and discipleship and learning this stuff. So once I got that, it was like, okay, like I understand what you're trying to tell me, Lord. So it's been dope, man. It's been the coolest thing watching this stuff grow, watching kids come to work out and get lessons within it too. Cause it's like, I'm a talker, dog. I'm always trying to teach and coach. My son gets so tired of me because I'm like, every time you turn around, I got a lesson. I'm like, dude, look. And he's like, yeah, all right. I said, I promise you, when you get older, you're going to be thanking me, man. So, but it's just stuff I didn't have, right? It was just, I had to bump my head over and over and over again to figure it out. Well, son, I'm trying to tell you, like, let me bump my head for you. I've already done it. Now listen. So it's a process, but like you still want the kids to be kids too. And you got to make the mistakes too to figure it out yourself too. Like dad can't be there all the time. So it's been cool, man. It's been cool.
Well, that's one of my favorite parts about Alliance is bringing different parts of Omaha together and really opening the eyes of young men and young women to see like other parts. I mean, we're in the same city, and there's just so many different ways that we all live. And to be able to like have a melting pot like Alliance and open the door to raise young men and young women to just be better people on and off the court, in the field. I love it.
That's all it's about, man. So, and that's how you that's how you affect generational change, man. Like you start with the little people. Yeah. Like that's
the way to do it.
That's the only way, man. Like you start with it. Exactly.
Grassroots.
It's everything. It's youth. You have to pour into that. And we all, like, that's the mission. You should reach back. We all should reach back, man. Because it's like, that's the power of your testimony of like telling your story for somebody to hear and say like, oh my goodness. Like, because that's the miracle part about like, if BK can do it, like, I know, I know I can do it. So it's one of those things. So that's the process of getting them to understand like, man, look, we all flawed every single day. It's never like, that's the process. But it's another thing to say I'm flawed. I don't want to try. but I'm flawed, and I'm going to continue to try to be better through mistakes each and every day. You know what I'm saying? And like that's the goal, man. If we want to make this place a better place, right? Before we leave, like we got to reach back, man. We got to pour into them dudes, man.
Yeah, let's shift. I mean, we're at an hour now.
Yeah.
Let's shift to just plug yourself. Obviously, you just talked about what you're doing now.
Yeah. Plug
yourself. Where can the listeners find you? If they want to interact, if they want to follow you on social media, follow Faith Jump, follow Alliance. Where can they find all those platforms to help with your journey and just keep building this thing you're building?
Yeah,
it's just amazing.
Yeah, absolutely, man. We appreciate it, man. So Brandon Kinnie on Facebook, Alliance Sports Training on Instagram, Alliance_sports_training. Faith Jump at Faith Jump is on Instagram and Facebook. Both got Facebook pages too as well. So like that too as well. But yeah, man, I just look. I ain't a perfect guy, but man, I know like I'm finally in purpose.
Good.
And like when you wake up every day, like it feels like you're supposed to be doing, which is what you're supposed to be doing. So it feels good to be able to do that. So we got a lot of events planned this summer, a huge conference that we're planning to as well. So it's some cool stuff happening, man, coming down the pipeline. It's all free. That's my biggest thing. Like I had so many people tell me, like, B, you need to charge this, you need to do this. And
you'd be making a lot of money right now.
Man, God ain't tell me to do that, man. He told me to do it this way. So this is the way we're going to do it, man. So,
well, I can tell you, and this is something that I feel so fortunate to be in the position like that Mike and Jared and I, and like, No Block, No Rock is that we continue to sit down with people like you that are being brought up with the mantra of like, raising better men.
Yeah.
And you hear coaches all over the country say that, right? And then we keep sitting down with former players and interviewing you, and every single one of you are like changing the community and doing like huge things for Nebraska. And so I think that's something that is so special, and so like we're so fortunate to just sit here across the table from you.
Yeah, that's love, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, in Nebraska and No Block, No Rock is just lucky to have you.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. It's been awesome. I'm so glad I was able to get on, man. Like I said, I've been seeing
year in the
clips,
making,
man.
baby.
I've been seeing it. Dog.
It was worth the wait. It was worth the wait.
Yeah, man. They really rocking out, dog.
We had to get bougie for you.
Yeah, man, that's it right there.
We had to get a building first.
We got the building, dog. Then we came, right? I ain't even know that either, man. I would have loved to come to your crib, man. I remember he was asking me, he's like, well, are you okay with coming to my house? I know COVID. I'm like, dude, I ain't a weirdo, bro. Like, I'll come to your crib, dog. Like, what do you mean? But he was just being respectful. I'm like, I get it, dog. Man, I tell dudes, like, I'm shaking your hand. I'm doing all that, bro. Like, ain't no weirdness over
We're
there,
hugging.
dog.
We're getting
all that, dog. In the middle of COVID, if I'm supposed to go like that, I'm going to go like that, dog.
Right.
That's how God taking me out. I got to accept that.
That's so great.
Yeah, man. Absolutely.
What a beautiful place to leave this.
Yeah.
I know you already thanked him, but BK, thanks for coming on No Block, No Rock.
Absolutely, man.
Appreciate it so much, man.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me, man. Anytime y'all need me again, man, holla at me, bro.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Be careful what you wish for. No, I'm just kidding.
I'm here, man.
Yeah. Everybody, make sure you guys go follow Alliance Sports Training, Faith Jump, and of course our boy BK on all social media platforms. If there's any way, can the listeners do anything to help? We're raising money right now for a building fund. We've raised about $25,000 so far. So if you're in a given mood, if God spoke to you during this moment, man, go to alliancesportstraining.com. We have some ways that you can donate and give there. Facebook as well. At Alliance Sports Training, you can do that too. So yeah, man, and we appreciate it. We appreciate it all. It's been something that, like I said, it's a God-given vision, man, and we just following it, and He's been leading it the whole single time, because I tell people all the time, once I start feeling overwhelmed, it's when I'm like trying to take control of it. And it's like, sit back, dog. Like, I got it.
It's
like
rolling.
You follow me and then I got you. So yeah, man, we're figuring it out and taking it a day at a time, man. So
perfect.
Right on.
Yeah, man.
Well, BK, thank you so much for coming on the pod.
Absolutely, man.
Love it.
Love it.
Yeah, man. Appreciate y'all.
All right.
Sign off.
Boom.